Je to víta a toto je můj kanál YouTube. So, hi, I'm Vita Luca. This is my YouTube channel. Welcome. So today we are doing a video about how the Czech language is difficult for native English speakers. Now, disclaimer, this is mainly from my perspective. I did ask a few of my friends that are here that are also native English speakers or very similar to native English speakers. We had some similar things, but if you have any struggles yourself, you can let me know in the comments below, and maybe I'll make a part 2. Maybe we'll actually do some research into this and we'll ask other foreigners how the Czech language is for them, for different language speakers, people who speak multiple languages. Like, it would be kind of interesting. We could possibly do that by reaching out to them over Facebook. Anyways, let's get into this. So the Czech alphabet, to me, is really easy in a sense because it's all just sounds. Like, the Czech language is a phonetic language, so all the sounds stay the same. And so that's how you just need to see each letter that you see is just as a sound, and you'll have no problem with reading, at least. You still won't understand what you're reading, but at least you can read, you know? Like, I know in English it's different because certain pairings of certain letters make different sounds than the actual letter than themselves. Like, you know, like you have an S and you have an H, and now it's sh, even though it's a s and a h. Like, I hope you understand what I mean. Whereas in Czech, you have your S, you have your H, and then you have, you know, that's a sh there. And so if you have a s and a h, it's just going to be s. I hope I made that sound right. I don't even know if you have any words that are like that either. Like, I can't think of anything like that. But yeah, so each letter makes its own sound, basically. And so the two most difficult ones that I've noticed for myself is rsh and h. H. Okay, for me, rsh, no problem. That one I got down just by going r, j, r, j, r, j, r, j, rsh, all day long. And I don't know, maybe to a Czech person, it's not that great. I'm sorry, but like, I don't see that one as a problem. For me, my problem is this, which is not a ch, it's a Can you even hear that? I don't even know if you can hear me making the sound, but it's a I don't know. And it's one of the most important words. Hitsi. And if I said that right, please let me know. I've been struggling to say that word properly forever. And to be honest, I always think I'm saying it right, but apparently to everybody else, they have no idea what I'm trying to say. And I'm just like, hitsi, 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 hitsi. I don't know. For me, the choking H is like the hardest sound. And it's in actual English, and like, who. It's like, I don't know, you can feel it at the back of your throat. But I don't know how to replicate that sound without like going who. And it's in like Ukrainian as well. Like, hto, which is also who. And so, yeah, I don't know. It's that, to me, that hard, I don't even know if it's a hard H really, but that choking H is the hardest sound for me to make. And yet it is there in English. If I've said any words correctly, like hitse, if I said that right, please let me know. And if I didn't, it's a work in progress, okay? Big thing that all of us had in common between my friends and I was just casing. Casing, I think, is just a very difficult thing to wrap your head around when your language doesn't do it. And I only know Slavic languages to do casing. Like, it's not there in French. It's not there in Spanish. You have the words and they stay the same for the most part. And in English, it's definitely not there. Like, our sentences will always stay the same. Doesn't matter what gender we're talking to, what words we use. Like, really, it only changes for like plural, past tense, future tense, that kind of thing. Where casing is like its own separate thing, where if you say like prosím, then you have to add an O at the end of the noun. So mainly that one that I'm taking from is like karto prosím. So to say that properly, like you can't go like karta prosím. No, it's karto prosím, even though the credit card is a karta. I hope you know what I mean, but you guys are Czech. So most of you guys will probably be Czech watching this video. So you'll know what I mean. Casing, very difficult thing to wrap your head around when your language doesn't have it, especially since you have like 7 different casing groups, and you have like, I've never known a language to have so many ways to just say the word one. So far for me, I only know like jedna and raz, dva, yeah, raz. Raz. I only know jedna and raz. But the fact that there's more than one way to say one is kind of weird. But then like when you case one, then you have multiple ways of saying one. And like same with dog. There's multiple ways to say dog. And so there's like pes, si, sa, so, su. I don't know if those are correct anymore, but you get what I mean. You have so many different ways to say one word just because of casing. And then names also change when it comes to casing, which is bizarre to me being a native English speaker, because for us, your name will never change, ever, ever. In any sense will it ever change unless you tell us, hey, I want my name to be this. Like, that's the only time your name would ever change to us. Like, if you tell me your name is John, your name will be John forever. If you tell me your name is Ivan, your name will be Ivan forever. If you tell me your name is Ivan, your name will be Ivan forever. That's the way that it is. We might anglicize your name like Ivan and Ivan, but your name is still, you're not going to be Ivanu one day, Ivano the another day, Ivana, Ivanko, Ivanka. That's never going to happen. But it does with casing. And I have one question for Czechs watching this video, because I cannot find this properly on the internet. But what happens to like really, really English names like Tiffany? Do they become like Tifano, Tifanu, Tiffany-you? Or does casing just not happen anymore? But really, for me, I only have the questions about names that like end in EY. So like Brittany, Tiffany. Well, those can end in A-N-Y too, but like, the ones that end in Y, really, like that's the ones that I'm kind of interested in. Like, how does casing work with those names? And I tried looking it up, like specifically for Tiffany, and I just get stuff about Tiffany and Co. So help me out in the comments below. Please tell me how you would case English names that don't come back to Czech at all, like Tiffany, Brittany, like Whitney Houston, like stuff like that. Please let me know. This is another one that basically every other language but like sign language and English have in common, or at least American Sign Language anyways. But basically every other language has a gender, which is always extremely hard to wrap your mind around in English, like when you're a native English speaker and trying to just learn that things have genders now, because in English, only living things have genders. Only humans have genders. Only animals have genders. We don't give genders to chairs, beds, windows, nothing like that. But I know in French, in Spanish, in German, things have genders. And then there's a neutral gender as well in majority of those languages. And for us, the neutral is basically like they, them, like the plural is typically our neuter, whereas in other languages, they still have the plurals and a plural neuter. So that's really cool. But I have seen some people where they're just like, I don't identify as these. What do I do now? So I've seen a few foreigners who were like that. That's not really my case. For me, if I want to learn anything in Czech, I have to take the Czech, put it into French, put it in English. That's how I have to learn Czech when it comes to things like genders. Because the only other language that I know of that has multiple genders is French. And so for me to learn how to like appropriately talk to someone and describe someone, I have to relate it back to how I would do that in French. And with that being said as well, now when you're describing those gendered things, the adjectives that you use also then have to change to match the gender of the thing that you're describing, which is also just another thing that's like hard. So like in English, you're getting a mini English lesson. I am beautiful, right? Even though I'm beautiful, right? Like I don't change the adjective beautiful just because I'm female. I could say you are beautiful. Beautiful stays the same. I don't even know your gender. I could be handsome. You can be handsome. Like typically handsome is used for men and beautiful is used for women, but really anyone can be handsome, beautiful, gorgeous, sexy, smart, tall, short, brilliant. None of these things change based off of the gender that the person is. But now in Czech, not only do you have to be aware of the casing and your gender and then the gender of the things that you're describing, but then you also have to figure out how your adjectives change. I've had some people tell me when I was doing an English class that the verb changes because I'm a female. I can't remember what verb that was anymore, but I've had that happen too, where it's like, yeah, you can say this. I don't know if it was an actual adjective or what, but we were talking in a sentence of like, no. If you're going to say that about yourself, you have to say it like this. That's the male version. And I'm just like, why? Why? Because it's foreign to me, right? Because that's why I view English is so easy. Because I'm like, as long as you get past, the rules for words and like pronouncing the words, because I would say that's the hardest part, is the fact that all of our words come from different languages, so how you pronounce them is different based off of that, and then how they might be conjugated is different based off of that, or even just their plurals might be different, like you have goose and geese, but it's not moose and meese, and moose is German, and geese and goose comes from some other language where that works, but it doesn't work like that in German, so they're all just moose. Like that's why that happens in English. And so as long as you get past all those stupid rules, fairly easy language, considering you don't have to be worrying about the genders of things and everything like that. Though now you're also getting into a society that's being formed there where if you misgender someone, it's like a crime. But yeah, that's just all these like thought processes that you have to have makes it so much harder to actually learn the language. Because it's like, I have to be thinking about all these things just to form a very basic sentence. If I want to say like hezky ženy, I have to make sure that hezky is plural, women is plural, or ženy is plural. And then if I want to go like you are a beautiful woman, like mate, no, that's have. Okay, and so like ste, I think. So I would be like ste hezká žena, maybe. I don't know. I thought of that really quickly. So, but you got to think of all this stuff. It's just so much. It's a lot. When you're new and learning a language, it's a lot to have to think about. And then another thing that we don't have in English, but is almost in every other language, and that is another thing that I have to take Czech into French and then into English, because French is my only thing that I know enough of, because I'm not fluent in French at all. And so that would be conjugations. Because in English, to say you are, like we have like little ones. So like you are, I am. But then it's they are. He is, she is. So we have things like that. But when we get taught them in school, we're not taught like we are learning other languages. So we do have some conjugations where it's like, yes, I am, you are, he is, she is, kind of things. But we don't learn them the same way that we get taught in another language. So like we would get like a graph basically of like I, you, he, she, they, we, and then like a plural you, which we don't have a plural you in English at all. Like we don't have a respectful you that you might say to like a figure of authority or whatever. No, you'll go up to the police officer and be like, hey, what's up? Like, you can do that. You can say that to a grandma. We're not as respectful as other cultures, clearly. It's not advised to do that, but like you definitely can, and you can refer to them as you. You would just change the rest of your language to sound more professional and less slang. But yeah, so when it comes to conjugations, yeah, we get a graph, and then we get like sem, si, yeah, sme, stay, and so. Right? Like that's how we get them in a graph. But when we were learning English, I don't remember being taught that way. To being like, yes, I am, you are, he is, she is, they are, we are. We didn't really get that. We got like past, present, and future tense, kind of sort of like that. But mainly it all just became, you just write, and then I correct you, and you learn that way. And that's kind of how we learned how to do it. Because most of us all had parents at home that spoke English. And so you will learn just how to speak in general then. It's not fully proper. So really they would just correct you so that it becomes proper. And then you learn more things as you go on. But it's mainly like essay writing, paragraph writing, stuff like that. Whereas as kids, we were just basically taught how to make proper sentences, and then we build up from there into other things. And then learning how to use periods and commas and stuff like that. But we weren't ever really like given like, here's a graph, and been like, yes, it goes like this and it goes like that. And perfect, imperfect, past participle, past, future, whatever tenses. I didn't get taught any of those in English. Like, I don't know what a past participle is in English. Now, if you told me what a past participle is in English, like if you gave me an example of it, well, then I would know. Because I don't know exactly what everything is, but I know how to properly use the language. And that's kind of what it is like as a native English speaker. Like, if you're native in your first language, you might not know the rules behind why you do something, you just do it. And in North America, that was a lot of our learning for the longest time was there's no reason as to why you do this, you just do it. And that's kind of just how we were taught. For like math, we would have ways of how we would have to write stuff out and how we would have to do the math and how we would have to show our math. And we never had a full reason as to why we're doing this thing that they want us to do and why we're fitting into this mold. They just told us to do it, so we do it. And yeah, we're like robots. But I also just wanted to leave this video with some tips on how you can help foreigners learn Czech if you're Czech watching this video. And basically, if one of us, any of us, if we come up to you and we speak in Czech to you, please don't switch to a language that we know, that we both know, just for the convenience of everything. Because that's really hurting our learning, like really hurting our learning. And this definitely does not apply to anybody, but you might end up coming across someone where if you were to do that to them, you might end up fully just discouraging them from ever trying again. So I would just really recommend that you just like push through it and you like try to get to us in Czech. Now, if you see like our face, you're just like, maybe then ask. But if we like came up to you and we're trying to like find something or we're trying to ask you something in Czech, it's best to just keep it all in Czech for our own learning and betterment. But then also another thing that could help is if you see one of us struggling with understanding you and you're like talking to us in Czech and trying to describe something in Czech, it's extremely helpful if you talk with your hands, if you make facial expressions, if you show it. Even if we're just in a group conversation with you and we're like native English speakers, but you're talking to somebody else in Czech, but we're all kind of in a group together, it really helps if you're using like facial expressions and you're talking so we can get the emotion behind what you're saying. And if we pick up a word here and there, we have like a baseline of what you're talking about, and then we can see on your face how you are with that thing. And we do kind of understand just based off of that. And so that could even help us like know what you're talking about without like fully understanding every single word that you said. Because I've been in situations like that. And it was like the person was talking to me in English. I understood everything just because I would pick up on a few words here and there. And then I would see like the facial expression, the body language, how she's talking about these things. And I would have an idea of exactly what she's talking about, even though I only know that she said like 3 words that I know out of her 50 that came out of her mouth. So yeah, that's extremely helpful. And just another thing, please don't laugh at us. If we ever say anything and we said it so horribly that it's funny to you, don't laugh in our face, because that's extremely discouraging. It's not happened to me yet in the Czech Republic, unless I made like a joke specifically about how I say something. But when you do laugh at somebody and you like they see that, it's like a killer in learning the language, because you get to a point where you're like, heck, I'm no good at this at all. Like, what's the point of me even trying if they're just all going to laugh at me because this one person did? And like, that's what killed me from learning French, was because I had someone laugh at me. And so I just stopped learning French. And it wasn't until I came out here that I realized I knew so much more French than I actually thought I did. But I never explored it anymore because I was laughed at for an improper pronunciation. And so if you come across any foreigners, don't laugh at them if they make a mistake. Like, of course, you could turn around and laugh later. Like, I'm not saying like you're not allowed to laugh at us. You can if you do find it funny. Just don't do it in that moment. Like, hold back and just be like, try to fix it with us, try to help us. And then you could go home later, or like turn around, leave the conversation, and just die. Like, I'm not saying like you can't have fun with us and find it funny. If we really made like a big mistake that might end up coming off of funny, like saying penis instead of penise or something, which, yeah. So that's all I gotta say. I hope this helped, but I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye! And YouTube is going to offer you a video that's best suited for you here. Check it out, and I'll see you in the next one.